Bueno, guys, I'm recording this session now. Okay, ahora sí, let's start. Well, we're going to be working today. We're going to be starting this week with our class number 3.1. It's the first class of the week number 3. Ready? Before that, before the class number 3.1, I want you to be careful with the activity of the week number 2. The activity which is called What a Story. What a Story. It's a little bit difficult, okay? So take care, be careful with that activity because most possibly it's going to be difficult to do. Lo más posible es que esa actividad de la segunda semana, What a Story, les vaya a causar un poquito como de dificultad, es un poquito enredada de entender, entonces háganla con mucho cuidado, tratando de entender bien las historias, tratando de recordar lo que vimos en la semana pasada, que si es past simple, que si es past continuous, que si es past perfect. Entonces ahí teniendo cuidado de mirar bien los tiempos, de si la acción pasó después o era una acción larga o corta, para que sepan pues cuál tiempo usar. ¿Listo? Pero pues de una vez les digo para que cuando lleguen a esa actividad no se estresen, vayan preparados. Es la actividad de la segunda semana, ¿listo? De la semana número 2, ¿ok? Bueno, guys, so let's start here with our class today with a very simple question. We're going to have a question here. Do you know, bueno, everybody knows what's the meaning of, what is the word paseo de ocho? You know, what is that?
When you go to a river, you can cook take a shower.
Exactly, no? So it's a very typical thing in Colombia, which, well, we could be translated as potluck, but no, it's paseo de olla porque es el nombre específico, no se traduce, ready? But bueno, it's a trip, no? So it's a trip, yes, un viaje, right? And what happens? It's typical, Paula says, go to a river. Okay, it's typical to go to a river. Okay, any other? Any other thing it's typical there? ¿Qué más es típico in a paseo de olla?
Teacher, no sé, cooking a sancocho.
Cook is typical, but especially more typical, especially sancocho. No, that's the most common thing.
Ajá, sí, cooking.
Very good, exactly, good. Guys, is it typical to play video games in a paseo de olla? It's a good idea to play video games in paseo de olla?
No,
No.
playing soccer.
De pronto, más bien, ¿cierto? It's a
Yeah.
possibility. It's a possibility to play soccer de pronto, si el río lo permite, right? Play soccer. Anything else?
Swing in drive, in river, but yeah, excuse me. Swing in river.
Exactly, swim in the rivers. It's very typical to swim in the river, right? Good, excellent, right? Good, muy bien. So, guys, it's typical to go with friends, or is more typical to go with family?
With friends, family.
Okay, it's possible to go with friends, but also go with family. Okay, very good. Listo, muy bien. Guys, well, of course, not nowadays everybody cooks. Ahora todo el mundo cocina, but typically, what member of the family cooks?
Mother and grandmother.
Father.
So normally
And grandmother.
mother, grandmother.
And Colombian potluck.
Exactly. So normally the grandmother or the mother
The
cooks.
grandmother or mother,
right?
yeah.
And what is the function of the father or the grandfather? What is the function of that man?
¿Cómo se dice, teacher? Contar.
Contar?
Sí, de cuentos. Ay.
Tell a story. Bueno, could be tell stories.
Yeah. Tell a story, yeah.
But in terms of cooking, en cuanto a la cocina, ¿qué tiene que hacer? What does he have to do? Normally, ¿no?
Good.
Normalmente.
Grandfather sleeping.
Bueno,
Meeting.
maybe sleeping, but for example, this one normally is the one who creates the fire, ¿no? Normalmente es el que hace la fogata, ¿no? So normally that's the one who
Ah, yeah, sí.
creates the fire. Hmm? So in this case, guys, we're talking about a typical thing, a very typical thing. Yes, paseo ya, it's very typical in Colombia. Everybody, at least one in life, has gone to a paseo de olla, ¿cierto? Al menos una vez en la vida, the people has gone to a paseo de olla, right? So, but there are, when we talk about that situation, there are certain things which are fine. Yes, hay algunas cosas que están bien, right? Que es típico. Other things that are not so well, otras cosas que no están tan bien, right? So today we're going to be talking a little bit about culture. Culture, what is the meaning of culture?
Cultura.
Cultura, right? And especially our Colombian culture is very familiar, right? We live in a very familiar country. The family, it's always the first thing here, no? We live in a traditional country, which usually puts first the family, no? So the grandparents, the parents, the kids, no? So it's like very traditional. In this case, for example, it's not accepted to play video games in that situation, no? It's because it's disrespectful, no? What is the meaning of disrespectful? Disrespectful. What is that? Disrespectful? What is that?
Irrespetuoso, ¿no?
Irrespetuoso, right? So when you play video games in that situation, it's like, no, okay, no, it's not accepted. Or for example, in the dinner table, en la mesa de comedor, right? It's not accepted to chat, for example, with your friends. It's a little bit disrespectful, especially, for example, for the old people, not especially for the grandparents, the parents, is disrespectful, right? So today we're going to be focusing in two things: describing what is typical and not typical in a place, right? And also talking about the possibility to be in another different place, right? For example, if you weren't not living here in Colombia, but living in another country, in United States or in England, in Australia, in another country, right? And what consequence would it have, right? So that's basically what we're going to be doing today. So first, let's talk about how can we describe customs, right? What is the meaning of customs, guys? Do you know what is the meaning of customs? Customs.
Usuarios.
That is customers, but no, this is
Ah,
custom.
ok, ya. O sea, confundí.
Sí,
Eso es
sí.
muy tradicional en nosotros, pero
Costumbres.
Costumbres, muy
Ajá,
bien, very good. So the
me
habits that we
confundí.
have. In this case, we're going to have 4 expressions that we can use in order to express customs or typical things. Number 1 and number 2. In this case, they're going to be it's, it is, right? And we have expression. It is the custom to, es acostumbrado, bla, 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 o it is acceptable to. Cuando digo it is acceptable to, es algo que pues puede pasar, pero no es tan acostumbrado, no es tan típico como el anterior. Entonces, it's a custom, es siempre sucede, es costumbre, ta, ta, ta. O it's acceptable, pues es aceptable, ta, 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 but it's not always the same. In this case, as you can see, both expressions continue with the pronoun to, with the preposition to, right? And what they are doing in this case, it's just preceding another verb, which is in infinitive. That's the action that I am supposed that it's the custom. Esa es la acción que finalmente es la que quiero mencionar como costumbre, right? For example, in Colombia, it's the custom to go to a river and cook there. It's the custom. Pasa mucho, ¿no? So it's very typical. In Colombia, it's the custom to visit, for example, the parents on weekends. Es costumbre visitar a los papás on weekends, ¿no? In Colombia, it's the custom to cook on weekdays, ¿no? So es costumbre cocinar, it's custom to cook. La mayoría de la gente lo hace, right? But, for example, in Colombia, it's acceptable sometimes, no? No siempre, but sometimes in Colombia, it's acceptable to go to a restaurant on Fridays, for example. Yes? Or it is acceptable to go to a shopping center on weekends. Oh, de pronto, it's acceptable to go to a shopping center on weekends. Yes. Or, for example, it is acceptable to, no sé, it is acceptable to call your parents at night. It's not the custom, no es la costumbre, pero it's acceptable, puede pasar, ¿cierto? So, in that case, I have two expressions muy fáciles de usar. Lo único que tienes que hacer es usar simplemente el verbo en infinitivo. It's the custom to o it's acceptable to. Estas expresiones también las puedo usar de manera negativa. It's not the custom to or it is not acceptable to. In which case, I'm talking about something that is not acceptable, algo que no es aceptable, o sea, nunca pasa, right? Que no se acepta o que no es costumbre, right? For example, I'm saying in Colombia, it's not the custom to buy delivery every day. No es costumbre pedir domicilio todos los días, ¿no? Every day. Maybe sometimes it's acceptable to buy delivery on weekends or maybe one day at the week. But in Colombia, it's the custom to cook, right? In Colombia, for example, it's not acceptable to what? It's not acceptable to, it's not acceptable to, oh, well, it's not acceptable to be rude with the guest. You know, be rude, como ser grosero, with the guests. What is the meaning of guests?
¿Mesero?
No.
No. Eh,
Visita.
Hey, más o menos, more or less. What is the meaning of guest, guys? ¿Qué será guests? The person who come to your house. O sea, los invitados, right? To a party or to your house, ¿no? For example, when you go to have lunch with another person, so you are the guest, ¿sí? Los invitados. So in Colombia, it's not acceptable to be rude. En Colombia no es aceptable ser grosero con los invitados, ¿no? It's the people are always very kind, ¿no? So la gente es muy amable. So it's not acceptable to be rude with the guests, right? Listo, guys. How do you feel with these two expressions? ¿Cómo se siente con esas expresiones? Good, fine, más o menos, more or less.
Fine, teacher, fine.
good.
Very good.
Easy. Listo. These expressions are going to help me to introduce customs in a specific context, no? Because if I say it's the custom to go to a river and cook, pues I have to specify that it's in Colombia. That doesn't happen in all the world. It happens in Colombia, right? And maybe not in all Colombia, but especially, for example, in, no sé, Cundinamarca and the coast, no sé, es an example, no? O it is not acceptable to be rude with the guests, pero eso no pasa en todo lado. Maybe in Colombians' homes, pero en otro lado de pronto sí, right? So it's important to contextualize over here. Contextualize. ¿Listo? Guys, in your families, which are the customs or which are the things that are acceptable or not acceptable in your families? Every family is different, so what do you think? What do you think about that? In your families, what's the custom?
Teacher,
Anything? Yes.
is not the custom to interrupting, bueno, ¿cómo sería? Interrumpir, ¿cierto? Interrupting when adults, interrupting where adults are speaking.
Good, very
No
good.
sé
But in
si
that
usted,
case, yes, more than the
yeah.
custom, it's not acceptable. No se acepta, no? No, it's not good. So it is not acceptable.
Ah, sí, yeah, sí, ya.
It is not acceptable to interrupt.
Interrupting when, to interrupt.
Interrupt, porque recuerda que el verbo va en infinitivo, ¿no? Entonces, it's not acceptable
Okay.
to interrupt when
When
adults speak.
adults speak.
Exactly, very good. Muy bien, excellent. That's one good custom. ¿Qué más? Anything else? Very good.
For example, in my family, it's the custom to breakfast with tamal, chocolate, eggs, and arepa. Bueno, no
But
sé cómo
every
se
day
dice.
or on Sundays?
On Sundays. Yeah,
Ah, good, very
really,
good.
on
Yes, so,
Sundays. Yeah.
so Nico says it's a custom to have breakfast with arepa, tamal, chocolate, eggs on Sundays. It's customary in a lot of homes, no? Muy bien, Nico. Thanks a lot. Anybody else?
Teacher,
Mhm.
it's not acceptable to disobey grandparents.
Completely agree. Exactly. Sí, total, right? So, well, in this case, the pronunciation, acceptable, acceptable. Ready?
Acceptable.
Exactly. Entonces, it's not acceptable to disobey the grandparents. They are the high authority now. So that's it. Muy bien. Excellent. Anybody else? Pau?
Teacher, it's my custom to have a breakfast at night every day.
Momento.
9 p.m.
Ah, at 9. Ah, te entendí, at
At,
night. Okay.
no, at
At
night.
9. Okay, very good. With your child or alone?
Alone.
Alone. Okay. Okay, okay, very good. So it's the custom to have breakfast every day exactly at 9 a.m. Muy bien, good, excellent, right?
Teacher,
Yes.
it's not acceptable raise the voice say, to grandfather or grandparents. Yeah, the grandparents.
Muy bien, very good. So it's not acceptable, pilas, no olvides el to. It's not acceptable to raise
Yeah,
my
yeah.
voice
My voice to grandparents.
to grandparents. Very good. Of course, no, no. My God, okay. It's unimaginable.
Como hagas eso.
Claro, of course. Muy bien, excellent. Entonces, as you notice, in this case, we're talking about situations, yes? Situations that can happen or that cannot happen. But at the same time, I can maybe focus a little bit more in the person. And instead of saying it is the custom or it is acceptable, I can also use the expression you are. Ya no va a ser como es costumbre o es aceptable, sino tú, ¿yes? Tú, se supone que tú, o se espera que tú, right? So it's going to be more directed to the person, not to the situation, but to the person itself. You are supposed to, se supone que tú, bla, 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 o you are expected to, bla, 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 right? So in that case is what the people normally suppose from you, lo que la gente normalmente debería hacer en una situación. Again, it's a possibility to work with the negative situation over here. You are not supposed to or you are not expected to, right? O sea, no se espera que tú hagas ciertas o no se supone que tú hagas ta, ta, ta in a different situation, right? For example, when we are having dinner in my family, you are not you are not supposed to use your phone. That is very disrespectful in my family. You are not supposed to use your phone in the dining table, no? O sea, en el comedor. In other places, yes, of course, but when you are having dinner or having lunch, you are not supposed to use your phone. My grandmother hates that, right? So, mm, even here in my family, in my house with my wife, you are not supposed to use your phone, but we are two people, so we have to chat when we have dinner together, right? Vivi?
Una viene siendo como la que se supone que debe ser como
Vivi, espérame, ¿me repites, por favor? Se escucha súper mal. ¿Me repites? No, no te escucho bien.
ahí.
Ahí te escucho bien, yes.
Pregunta, en la que se dice se supone que debes, a diferencia de la que se espera, la de supones porque ya es algo que es como más de, no sé, una orden o algo, una regla, mientras que se espera es como a que esperan que uno sí lo haga, pero la otra considero que es como más ya como algo impuesto, no sé.
En este caso
Estoy
ambas
errada.
son similares, Vivi, o sea, no hay diferencia entre suppose y expected, es básicamente lo mismo, como que es algo muy normal que la gente ya da por sentado de ti. Cualquiera de las dos funciona igual, o sea, no hay mucha diferencia entre una y la otra, ¿vale? Ujú. Very good. Excellent. Entonces, in that case, bueno, you are supposed to or you are not supposed to, all right? Questions about it? It's the same, no? Verb to be, you are supposed to, you are expected to. Verb in infinitive, verbo en infinitivo. Questions, difficulties in that case, problems?
Not teacher any question.
That's it, very good. For example, I'm going to ask you to please complete this sentence in the even weeks. O sea, en las semanas pares. You, ¿qué? In our course, en nuestro curso, ¿no? So, in the even weeks, you what? What do you have to do on the even, in the even weeks? Las semanas pares.
Teacher, creo que it's programming to class.
Ok, pero eso pasa en todas las semanas, pero hay algo que solo pasa en las semanas pares. What is something that you only do on the even weeks?
I am supposed to do the checkpoints.
Exactly, Nico, very good.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
in the even weeks, you're supposed to do the checkpoints, right? Si lo hacen, pues perfecto. O sea, normalmente es lo que deberían hacer, right? Sometimes no, sometimes yes, but that's what you're supposed to do, no? The checkpoints. Perfect. That's it, right? What about when you are learning English? When you are learning English, okay, how can you complete that sentence when you're learning English? What are you expected to do or what are you supposed to do? As a student, of course.
Slash, practice, en ejercicios, ejercise, en plataforma, no sé, plataforma.
Good, good platform, good. Pero entonces, ¿qué? Entonces, muy bien. When you are learning English, you are,
Suppose.
yes,
Suppose. Realize.
you are supposed to
Realize.
do exercises, to practice with no sé qué, to listen to music, to watch series, to la... Muy bien, excelente. So you are supposed to y todo pues lo que tienen que hacer, lo que se supone que hagan cuando están aprendiendo. ¿Ready? Entonces, en este caso, la expresión no se enfoca tanto en la situación, sino en lo que la persona como tal tiene o no tiene que hacer. ¿Listo? ¿Ready? It's clear, guys, the difference between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Is that clear? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes, teacher.
Good. Excellent. Very good. Well, let's think in another moment, which is a little bit different for all of us, you know? For example, when we are talking about the first date, do you know what is the meaning of the first date? First date?
Primer día. Primer día.
Not date, sino date. First date.
Cita.
Primera cita, muy bien.
Primera cita. Ah, bien.
Exactly, right? So imagine in the first date.
Ah, por
What
eso le puse el corazoncito ahí.
exactly, right? So that's the first date, right? So imagining your first date. What is acceptable to do? What is the custom to do? What is not acceptable to do?
Is the custom to in, invited,
Invite.
sí, yeah, to invite to 18 or 8.
Okay, very good. Invite the other person, no? So invitar a quién? To the other person to eat. Muy bien. Yeah, it's a custom to invite the other person
Bueno,
to
usted le
eat.
agregó el
Perfecto.
pedacito encima.
Exactly. Very good.
The other
¿Qué más?
person. Okay, okay.
Anything else? ¿Algo
Teacher,
más?
it's
Yes.
not acceptable to the woman pies.
Sí, pero como esa está dirigida hacia la mujer, entonces es más bien
Ujú,
dirigida hacia la persona. Este you
okay.
lo puedo cambiar y decir, por ejemplo, pues no se espera que la mujer pague en la primera cita, al menos en la primera no se espera que
Ujú,
pase eso.
ujú.
Entonces I can say, for example, women are not supposed or expected, el que quieras usar. Women are not expected to pay, right? In the first day, the women are not expected to pay. Muy bien, very good. Pero lo uso con estas porque es más enfocado como hacia la persona. O sea, no tanto como a la
Ok,
situación, sino
ok.
más como hacia la mujer. No
Ujú.
se espera que la mujer pague. Bien.
Sí, sí, ya
Excelente,
entiendo.
Bill. Perfecto.
Gracias.
¿Listo? ¿Qué otra? Any
Teacher,
other?
it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to go to cinema in the first date.
It's not acceptable to go to cinema, porque así quién va a hablar, ¿cierto? So, it's not acceptable to go to cinema.
Mhm. Yeah.
Exactly. Very good. Mhm.
It's not acceptable to arrive late.
Bueno, depende. But yes, okay. Muy bien, of course. Paula dice, it's not acceptable to arrive late. Or you are not supposed to arrive late. No se supone. Sometimes the people arrive late, but you are not supposed to do that. Muy bien, very good. Any other? No, no more.
Teacher, puede ser también is, bueno, no sé, en costumbre mía, pues,
Yes.
is the custom to eh, give the other person flowers.
For example, muy bien. So, in terms of that, it's the custom, bueno, for Álvaro, it's the custom to give flowers to the women. Very good. Perfect. Muy bien. Any other, any other? No, that's it. Bueno, muy bien, very good. So in this case, guys, what we're doing with this expression is simply talking about what is typical or not typical in one place, right? We can use it here for our country, for Colombia, yes, for the pod walk, for the Paseo de Olla, but also we can use it for talking about other things, other countries, no? For example, well, here so far we have been talking about what is typical for us, but bueno, what is typical in Italy, for example, right? What is typical in France, what is typical in the United States, what is typical in India, no? So pues, in India, it's the custom to eat with the hands. In India, it's the custom to eat in the floor, right? In India, you are supposed to, no sé, you are supposed to eat with your hands, right? That's it. Or in India, you are expected to eat everything. No sé, I'm not sure. Yes, but in that case, I can use these expressions for talking not only what is typical for us, but also what is typical in other places of the world, right? Or in other contexts. In SMART, it's the custom to present the checkpoint every 2 weeks. In Smart Online, it's acceptable to program your class at any time. So it's also described for talking about typical things in any different context, country, city, institution, or whatever that we want. ¿Listo, guys? Hasta ahí, all good? All fine?
All fine, teacher, all fine.
All fine.
Yeah.
Very good. Listo. Now, the second part of today, yes, it's going to be thinking in an imaginary situation, of course, in a different place, right? Imagining that you are living here in Colombia or that you're living in any other place, right? We're going to have a long sentence, una oración larga, right? A long sentence, which is going to help me to think in different possible situations in the future, right? But it's possible, it's not real, right? The first part is that we're going to use I, which you know it's I would, right? So we said, ok, es irreal. Si estoy usando I would, it's because it's imaginary, ¿no? Ya sé que si estoy usando I would es porque es imaginario. And then I am using the verb to be for introducing the answer. Ready? For example, pregunta, Pau Mosquera, where would you like to live? Where would you like to visit? One country that you would like to visit.
In the USA.
Which one, sorry, honey?
In the USA.
USA, perfect. USA, cierto, that's it. That is the country that she would like to go, right? Ahora, pregunta. If you would like to go to United States, right? What is the food that you would like to eat? What is the food that you said, quiero comer esto in United States?
Y yo me quería hacer comer una hamburguesa.
Pues let's say burger. Well, you know, cheeseburger. Una hamburguesa de queso, ¿no? A cheeseburger. Muy típico de allá.
Hamburger.
Good.
The
Yes.
hamburger.
Or yes, hamburger, which is the like hamburger, but yeah, the cheeseburger or hamburger, it's the same. Ready? Muy bien. Pau, something that you would like to drink. Algo que te gustaría beber allá. Algo que te gustaría probar de allá, no sé, maybe.
I don't know, teacher.
De pronto you said, no, teacher. Yes, dime.
No. Voy a continuar, teacher.
Bueno, something, well, let's say drinking, no, an activity that you would like to do. Una actividad que tú dices, uy, yo hoy quiero hacer esto allá.
Visit the park.
Visit the amusement parks. Amusement es como parques de diversión, ¿no? So, amusement parks.
No, the visit the Central Park.
Also, bueno, de pronto para Álvaro es
Yeah.
visit the Central Park in New
The
York.
Central Park, no.
Bueno.
Tantas películas y tantas que ha salido. Quiero conocerlo.
Okay, very good. So visit the Central Park. Why not? Yes. Entonces, for example, guys, talking about feelings. Una cosa por la que se sentirían tristes allá, de pronto, maybe.
Family,
Entonces Vivi dice, uy,
friends.
no, me sentiría triste por extrañar a mi familia, right? Miss my family. Right? Entonces, guys,
Miss my costeña food.
miss the Colombian food, no? For example, yes,
Yeah,
it could be another possibility, see? Very good, right? Entonces, in this case, we have different aspects of that possible trip to USA. Tenemos muchos aspectos o muchos detallitos de ese viaje imaginario a USA, ¿cierto? Entonces, in that case, we are going to have this sentence, la cual es larguita, es una oración larga para escribir esto. The first part, the part number one, it's going to describe if it's a person or an action or what. ¿De qué estoy hablando? Bueno, I'm talking about una acción, una cosa, o un lugar, o una persona, whatever, right? Then, siempre voy a usar I would. And then after the I would, I am going to use the verb, el verbo, yes? Entonces, si es algo que voy a comer, pues something that I would eat. Si es algo que voy a hacer, pues something I would do. Si es de alguna forma que me voy a sentir o a estar, pues something that I would be, or something that I would feel, yes, right? And then I am going to have the verb to be for introducing the thing, ¿no? Entonces, por ejemplo, Paula dice que si fuera a Estados Unidos, algo que comería sería ¿qué? Una hamburguesa. Sencillo, ¿no? O sea, muy típico, pero ok. So in that case, look at this one. We are going to say una cosa o algo, one thing I would, o I'd, como quieran, I would eat, porque es lo que va a comer, ¿cierto? I would eat, yes, is, ¿qué era? Una hamburguesa, entonces a hamburger. O a cheeseburger, yes.
Cheeseburger,
Ajá,
yeah.
exacto, a cheeseburger. ¿Listo? Entonces, si te encuentras una oración largota, pero es sencilla de crear. Simplemente tengo que decir, bueno, alguien a quien yo llevaría sería cha, 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 y se crea de esta manera, siguiendo estos pasos. ¿Ready? Entonces, por ejemplo, no sé, I want to go to Italy. In my case, I want to go to Italy because I want to know Milan, right? Something, una cosa, something I would or I'd drink que yo tomaría, right, is an espresso, an Italian espresso, right? So, algo que yo bebería, verb to be, is an Italian espresso. Como el objeto, como lo que va después del verb to be es un objeto, pues simplemente incluyo el objeto, ¿cierto? Pero si yo tengo una acción después del verb to be, la acción la podría incluir como ing. Por ejemplo, ¿cuál es la acción que quieren hacer si van a United States? Entonces Álvaro dijo, uy, profe, algo que yo quiero hacer es visitar Central Park, right? Something that I would do, hacer, ¿cierto? Something that I would do
Visit.
is visiting. In that case, the action, si es una acción, if it's an action, it's going to be in ing. So something that I would do is visiting Central Park. O Paula dijo, no, teacher, something that I would do is visiting amusement parks, right? Central Park or amusement parks, right? In my case, for example, if I go to Italy, one thing I would do is going to a football stadium. Football stadium, right? So, una cosa que yo haría sería ¿qué?
Ir al estadio de fútbol.
Ir al estadio de fútbol. Como es una acción, entonces esa acción va a ir en ing. ¿Listo?
Going,
Right?
going the play or going the Yankees Stadium.
Por ejemplo, something that you would do in New York is going to the Yankees Stadium or going to watch a Yankees game, ¿no?
Watch, yeah, well, está buscando la
Very
palabra
good.
watch, the
Excellent.
Yankees.
¿Listo? Exacto. Entonces depende si es una acción lo que quieren hacer o es un objeto, right? Ahí ustedes dependen, pues van a completarlo ya sea con el verb in ing o con el nombre de la acción y ya está. ¿Mm? When we talk about, eso es cuando hablamos de lo que quiero visitar o de lo que quiero hacer o de lo que quiero comer o a dónde quiero ir, no problem. ¿Es? A place I want to visit is the Yankees Stadium. A place I want to go to is, no sé, the Central Park, the amusement parks, Orlando Parks, yes, Universal Studios. Bueno, depende, right? Pero también podemos hablar de sentimientos. Entonces dijimos que nos sentiríamos tristes, nostálgicos por extrañar cosas, extrañar a la familia, extrañar a la comida, ¿cierto? Cuando hablamos de sentimientos, vamos a tener que incluir el sentimiento después del verbo ser o sentir. Por ejemplo, one thing, vamos a ver dónde hacemos espacio por acá. One thing I would feel sad about, por lo que me sentiría triste, is, como es una acción, sería one thing I would feel sad about is missing my family o missing the coastal food o no sé, comida costeña, de coastal food, ¿cierto? Entonces, in that case, cuando hablamos de sentimientos o de sensaciones, debo incluir el verbo feel o be, cualquiera de los dos funciona, y la sensación. Entonces, sad o nostalgic, o puede ser excited, o puede ser confused, ¿no? Y en este caso, mucho cuidado acá, hay que incluir una preposición. Normalmente la preposición que voy a incluir es about or of. By or, no, yes, about or by. Ready? So, something that I would feel sad by or sad about is missing my no sé qué, right? Or, for example, Nico, where would you like to go? To what country?
For example, Canada.
Canada. Very good. My friend, if it's something that, like, if you go to Canada, what is something that you would feel scared about?
Scared, asustado.
Yes, exactly.
All right. One thing I will feel scared about is maybe Ay, se me fue la palabra. Esquiar.
Skiing. Skiing. Muy bien.
Skinning,
Sí.
because it's the verb inge. Skinning.
¿Listo? Ese verbo es extraño porque el verbo termina en i, pero después
Ah,
de consonante. Entonces, lo que vamos a hacer así es duplicar la doble i para hacer i y luego sí ing. Entonces, skiing, right?
right.
Muy
Skinning in
bien.
the snow.
Exactly, very good.
Yeah.
So, something that I would be scared about is skiing in the snow. This is something completely new, no? So, probably we suck at that. So, in that case, something that I would feel or that I would be scared, el sentimiento, scared, y la preposición about o scared by. Ready? Pasa eso específicamente cuando hablo de sentimientos. Si voy a hablar de otra cosa, pues es simplemente el verbo y ya está. ¿Yes? Recuerden que puede incluir cualquier cosa, una acción, un lugar, una persona, un objeto, whatever that you want. Ready? ¿Cómo van hasta ahí más o menos? Good?
Good,
Yeah,
teacher.
everything is
Good.
clear.
Very good.
Teacher, me perdí un momentico. Scarlet Scream.
Scared.
Scarlet, perdón, Scarlet About.
Ajá. Entonces es
Significado.
como sentirse asustado por algo. ¿Bien?
Ah,
Entonces,
ok.
Nicolás dijo, something or one thing I would feel scared about is skiing, esquiar, ¿sí? Skiing
Ujú,
in
ujú.
the snow.
Sí, sí.
Entonces, algo por lo que me sentiría asustado será o es
Esquiar.
esquiar. ¿Listo? Esquiar en la
Ok,
nieve.
well,
¿Listo?
thank you.
Bien.
Excellent.
Perfect, very good. Guys, este verb to be lo puedo presentar en cualquier forma, ya sea is o are, normalmente, ¿cierto? Pero también lo puedo usar con could be, must be, will be, any different kinds, cualquier tipo de verb to be podría funcionar ahí. ¿Listo? ¿Ready? Bueno, entonces, así como lo usé para hablar de cosas en otro país, al igual que las expresiones anteriores, lo voy a usar también para hablar de cosas acá, ¿cierto? Entonces, por ejemplo, if you have to make a recommendation about to a foreigner, to a stranger, you know what does it mean of foreigner? Foreigner, what is that?
Boarding here. Me suena.
¿De extranjero?
Extranjero, muy
Eh,
bien, very good. So a person to
sí.
another from another country, no?
Ajá.
If I would say that
Right.
I have to give a recommendation, if I had to give a recommendation to a foreigner, I would say, for example, that one place you, in that case, you'd visit, que deberías visitar o que visitarías, yes, is, no sé, let's say Chorro Quevedo, por ejemplo, which is good, no? So, one place you would visit is Chorro Quevedo. I'm talking about places, pero también puedo hablar sobre comida, sentimientos, bla, 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 right? Así como lo hice para hablar de cómo me sentiría yo, también lo puedo hacer con ellos. For example, one thing you would feel happy about is it's meeting kind people, no? Because of the Colombians, we are all kind. So, in that case, I would say, bueno, one thing that you would feel happy about, algo por lo que te sentirías o te sentirías feliz, es meeting new people, right? So, I can also use it for talking the things that we have here. Of course, no para nosotros, porque nosotros ya lo sentimos, ya vivimos acá, ¿cierto? But in that case, for example, for another person who is not from here. Ready? Tell me, guys, if you had to describe something, I mean, if you are in another country and you are talking about Colombia with another person, with a foreigner, what would you tell? What is the aspect that you would like to highlight, como like resaltar about Colombia? What aspect would you like to highlight about Colombia? Tell me.
Repeat the question, teacher.
Yes. Imagine that you are in another country talking to a foreigner. Yes, están hablando con el extranjero,
Ajá.
cha, 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 right? tell the person something that you want to highlight, algo que quieren resaltar about your city or Colombia in general, but if you want about your city, it's all right, ¿no?
Okay, okay.
Por ejemplo, no, mira, si tú vas a Bogotá, te sentirías muy feliz si visitas el Parque Simón Bolívar, por ejemplo. Yo le diría, ¿cierto? Entonces, one thing that you would like to do in Bogotá is visiting Simón Bolívar's Park, ¿cierto? Entonces, what about your places, right? For example, Vivi, you live in Medellín? I think so.
Yes, yes.
So Vivi said like, no, you know what? Something or one place that you would like to visit is Poblado,
Lleras
right?
Park.
Or
Polito
Lleras Park.
Paisa,
Or
De Lleras Park.
Guatapé.
exactly.
De Lleras Park, no,
Guatapé,
yeah.
Or si, for example, Álvaro says like, mire, if you go to Barranquilla, one place or one food that you would like to eat is butifarra, bla, blah, blah, no sé qué,
Uh-huh,
right?
yeah.
Entonces, it's
Or
something that...
you would visit is bueno, voy a decirlo en inglés. The window to war.
La ventana del mundo.
Sí, yeah, así es. Yeah.
Good. Exactly. Pero entonces, recuerda que falta la primera parte. One place that
No, no,
you
yo
would
sé, quise
visit.
resumir un poquito. Quise resumir.
Exacto.
Mira, la
Entonces,
ventana del mundo, si no la conocen, los que no la conocen, vea, si yo tengo una réplica por aquí chiquita,
I have no idea what the fuck is that. Ah,
es esta,
okay.
¿Qué es? ¿Qué es?
la ventana del mundo,
Ah,
de
ok.
Windows.
It's like a monument. Es como un monumento, like a monument.
Sí, sí, eso es así,
Very good.
sí, es muy alta.
Exactly. Entonces, exactly that's what you have to do. Eso es lo que tienen que hacer. Digamos, simplemente decir, bueno, si hablando con un extranjero, quiero decirle que algo, una comida o one food that you would like to try or that you would eat is lechona tolimense, por ejemplo, no sé, ¿yes? Entonces piensen en algo que quieran resaltar de acá, puede ser la ciudad o el país, and tell me. ¿Listo? Piénsenlo, think about it.
Teacher,
¿Mm?
one thing I would visit or pues Medellín.
Ay,
I don't know the culture of the subway, la cultura metro. Acá somos muy, como muy,
Good.
amamos mucho como
Yes,
esa
I know.
parte. Bien.
Entonces, pero en ese caso sería una cosa que visitarías o una cosa que verías de pronto, maybe.
Bueno, pues lo digo visitar es
sí,
por lo que hacen el recorrido
Ah, no way,
y el,
seriously?
ajá,
Ah, ok, entonces ahí sí visit,
o
good,
verías,
very
no
good.
sé, también, o
Ujú.
vivirías, no sé, como,
sí,
como la
vivirías
Maybe.
ya.
experiencia que tienen estar dentro del metro y pues las personas que viajan en él, pues es como lo que hace característico que nosotros
Very
acá
good.
nos...
Ujú.
Ujú. Entonces, por ejemplo, one experience you, pero en este caso, como estamos hablando de lo que el otro le haría, entonces, you would
Ujú.
live, ¿cierto? No,
Ujú.
I, sino you would live, is de cultura metro. Very good, excellent. Listo, perfecto, muy bien.
Yeah, teacher. One place, one place you would visit is the Pier of Puerto Colombia. Ya, así, no sé,
Ok,
normal. Ya,
ok, de Puerto Colombia Pearl, right?
bueno, Puerto Colombia Pearl, ya.
Okay, perfect. That's it. Yeah, Pearl is like, o sea, what, like when you say that it's like como muelle, ¿no? Puerto.
Mu- Sí, no, es que en Puerto Colombia, el municipio se llama Puerto Colombia,
Ajá.
pero el muelle es donde entraba anteriormente toda la parte comercial de Colombia entraba por ahí, por Puerto
Mm,
Colombia. Es que Se dice que la primera ciudad comercial en Colombia
Sí,
fue,
yo también he escuchado eso.
fue Puerto Colombia. Bueno, ciudad no, un
Good.
municipio, bueno, que todo entraba por la costa, es por el muelle de Puerto Colombia.
Vea, pues, okay, very good, excellent. That's important
Listo.
to visit.
Ya.
Muy bien, Álvaro, excellent. Bueno, anybody else, something that you want to highlight?
One thing would you prove is Mankovic ice cream in Medellin.
Of
It's
course, it's delicious.
it's cool. Yeah, it's delicious
Mhm.
and some a little strange, but
A little
it's
bit
okay.
peculiar, ¿no?
It's nice,
Ujú.
right?
Digo, en este caso, proof es probar, pero cuando digo probar, como de probar un
Me
crimen
gusta.
o algo así. Probar
Right,
de gustar algo sería try.
right. All right.
Ujú,
Okay,
right, that's good.
teacher, I have a question.
Yes,
For
ma'am.
example, I can say, for example, one thing that you will, yeah,
Yes, of course. Esa edad va aquí implícito. Si lo quieres
uh-huh.
usar, perfecto. Yes. Ujú.
Okay.
Listo, yes, muy bien.
And for example, if I, if I, bueno, si quiero decirle específicamente como que deberías probarlo, como
Ah,
que es,
en ese caso cambiaríamos el
¿dónde
would
podría?
por should.
Should. Ah, ok,
Yes,
sí,
but that's the only
ok.
difference. So, one thing that you should
Y la
try
fórmula,
is... O sea, la fórmula
que
quedaría
es,
igual, excepto que cambiaríamos el would por should. That's the only difference, right?
for example, one thing that you should eat if you go to Medellin is uh, the mango ice cream. Yeah.
Exactly like that. Exactly like that. Very good.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, teacher.
No, no, it's okay. No problem. Very good. Bueno, my dear Paula.
Teacher, si yo digo, if you come to Willa, you would delighted by many viewpoints we have. ¿Está bien hecho?
Sí, claro, digamos que te faltaría es like de this part, pero no, está bien, like you will be or you would be delighted by, la última parte no lo escuché bien.
Viewpoints, miradores, vistas, no sé.
Ah, landscapes and viewer, like digamos que viewer es como un mirador, pero como algo para mirar. Pero we could say, for example, the landscapes son como los paisajes, ¿no? So the landscapes.
Okay.
O what we could say is sightseeing. Sightseeing, que es como el plan de ir a mirar, pues, sí, o sea, como ir a mirar los landscapes, ¿no?
Okay.
Ujú. Muy bien, very good, excellent. Listo. Pau, Porras, do you have another one?
One place you visit in Colombia is, ay, espérate, que lo tenía, se me olvidó. El de las cometas, ¿cómo es que se llama?
Villa de Leyva.
Oiga. And for its sciences and landscapes
Ujú.
and the roads,
And
the rock roads, los caminos de piedra.
okay, on the stone path. Yes, on the walk path. Yes. Okay, very good. Muy bien, good, excellent. So in that case, all of these sentences are very long. It's just talking about imaginary situations, whether if it's for us, puede que sea para nosotros como, bueno, una cosa que yo haría sería tal cosa, o también para ellos, algo que probaría sería tal cosa, algo que sentiría sería ta, 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 right? Entonces, in that case, well, what we did was talking about cultures. Lo que hicimos fue hablar básicamente de culturas, ¿no? Tanto la de nosotros como la de otros lados. ¿Qué es típico acá? ¿Qué es típico allá? ¿Qué se acepta acá? ¿Qué no se acepta acá? ¿Qué sería bueno ver acá si alguien más viniera? ¿Qué veríamos nosotros si fuéramos a otro lado? Right? Entonces, pues, the idea was to use cultures, ready? Or to talk about cultures, but using the same topics as, I mean, the previous topics, o sea, usando temas que ya hemos visto. Por ejemplo, el uso de would, for example, to, for example, the normal verbs, por ejemplo, los gerundios, right? Entonces, vamos a empezar a poner los temas que ya hemos visto en otros contextos. Digamos que temas nuevos, pues no hay muchos. Lo que hacemos es coger los temas que hemos visto previamente y empezar a ponerlos en otros contextos con más vocabulario, ¿vale? Entonces aquí ya digamos que hemos visto la mayoría de los temas gramaticales que ahora debemos enfocarnos a expandir el vocabulario y a usar esos temas que ya hemos visto, que presente, que pasado, que futuro, pero con más vocabulario, ¿listo? Entonces, pues básicamente es lo que vamos a empezar a hacer en este nivel y en los siguientes también, que son los niveles ya más avanzaditos, pues vamos a hacer eso, ¿listo? Como expandir el vocabulario, eh, perfeccionar el uso de los tiempos básicos, and that's it. ¿Listo, guys? Preguntas, questions, difficulties, problems.
Excelente, teacher, excelente.
No,
Bueno,
por
me
eso
alegra.
no es
Very
Me
good.
emociona, no le cuento.
Very-
Le cuento que
very
yo
good.
salgo de aquí y yo les cuento a los compañeros y a usted, teacher, y todo. Yo salgo de clase de inglés y salgo como emocionado y hablando con todo el mundo.
That's good, that's good.
Entonces, no, para aquí, para qué.
Very
Gracias,
good.
gracias
Me
por todo.
alegra. No, no, I'm here to help you. Ready?
Ok,
Entonces, pues
thank you,
nada,
thank
guys,
you.
me alegra verlos acá todavía, todos los 8 juiciositos. Esperemos que sean más los que terminen el básico 2 y empiecen a programar más clase. Con eso, pues tenemos clases más completicas, pero bueno. Guys, nos vemos entonces
Miércoles.
el miércoles.
Wednesday night.
Thank
miércoles a
you.
las 7.
Miércoles a las
Yeah.
8, exactamente.
Ok.
¿Listo? Guys,
A las
have a
7,
good
¿no?
night.
A
A
las 7,
las
teacher, yo lo tengo a las 7, ¿sí?
miércoles a las 7, ¿seguros?
Ya,
Sí,
ya, teacher, sí.
se me hizo raro
Ya.
ahora.
No me asusté porque ahora como
Wednesday
que la
night
tomé.
7.
Ay, sí, yo la puse a las 7.
Sí.
Bueno, no pasa nada, no worries, todo bien, no se
Ok,
preocupen.
ok.
¿Listo? A las 7, ¿todos
Listo.
pueden a las 7? Sí, no problem.
Sí,
Ya,
sí.
ya.
Sí, pues
Listo,
sí.
perfecto, vale.
Listo.
Listo, entonces, a las 7 nos vemos el miércoles, ¿listo? Gracias por hacerme caer en cuenta. Muchas
Teacher,
gracias,
yeah.
guys.
Bye, bye,
Thank you.
teacher.
Ciao, guys.
Bye,
See you
class.
later.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye, see you later.
Bye,
See you.
teacher. Thank you
Bye,
for all.
Nico. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to
Bye,
meet you.
teacher.